Welcome, everybody, to Forging Brains Podcast. I'm your host, Riley Kirkpatrick, along with my friend and co-host, Gavin Cooper. Today, our guest is a guy that's pretty well known in our farrier world. His name is Robert Jukes, also known as Jukes. Robert resides in Weatherford, Texas, but he's originally from Scone, New South Wales, Australia. Robert has been on the WCB team, probably one of the more recognized WCB teams that we've had. He's also been on multiple pretty good classic teams. Robert is pretty well known for his fuller making. And today we're going to go along with Robert and hear his ideas on tool making, horseshoeing, and just living life in general.
Here we go. We're clear for liftoff.
You were really slow on that countdown. Wasn't that good?
Well, what's up, man?
It's all good. How you fellas?
Man, I've been pretty good. I've had a pretty good week. It's only been a few days since I've seen old Gavin here, but it's kind of been a while since I've seen you, man.
It has been, man. I actually can't remember the last time I seen you out in person, you know?
No, I think it was like the winter clinic, yeah.
It had that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, long time ago. Good times, though, you know.
Yeah, do you think you'll be going to the winter clinic again this year?
I'd like to, you know. That's always a lot of fun. Like, there's no pressure on anything, and, you know, just a good time to go hang out with a bunch of guys that are into the same shit, you know. It's always a good time.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of what we were thinking. We were thinking about trying to get out there, and then, we'd probably try and do some podcasting while we're out there as well.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Yeah. You'd be able to nail a bunch of guys down that are pretty hard to get a hold of, you know.
Yeah, we kind of think it'd be fun to do like a live show, you know, where we're all sitting around. We just got the mics going, and then like whoever just wants to pop in, you know.
Possibilities are endless, aren't they? Huh?
Yeah.
Endless and great possibility for chaos is what, what it sounds.
That's it.
So are you still living there in Weatherford?
Still in Weatherford. You know, I feel like this is where I'm going to be for a while, you know, just until my kids grow up, you know. Got 2 young kids. Henley's, my girl, she's just turned, she'll be 13 next year. My little boy just turned 9, so they're right in the thick of it now. So this is home. This is home for a while now. Yeah.
Yeah, shit. The last time I saw them, they were just like wee little, you know.
Oh, they grow like weeds, man. Like my little boy's, he's a skyscraper, dude. He's a foot taller than anyone else in his grade, you know. Like he needs to play basketball, do something like that. But
dang.
Yeah.
So,
Gavin.
what about, what's that, Riley?
Man, no. Keep going.
So, where about in Australia are you actually from, Robert?
So, I was born in Darwin. Mum and Dad are actually from New Zealand, right? So, I was born in Darwin, spent a couple of years, my little infant life over there in New Zealand before Mum and Dad moved over to Australia, you know, and then they moved to a place called Scone. And Scone's actually, it's like the horse capital of Australia, you know, so it's in a place called the Hunter Valley. Real fruitful little valley, you know, like all you're really going to run into there in Scone and the Hunter Valley area, you know, thoroughbred racehorse farms, vineyards, and coal mines is what makes up the Hunter Valley. But, you know, I started shoeing horses in 1995. I was 15 at the time. And so
I was only 4 years old.
Yeah, man. You're just a young whippersnapper, Coop. You know? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'd have a lot more gray in my beard if I didn't dye it, you know. But I'm trying to, you know.
Couldn't even tell, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't even tell.
But yeah, so anyway, that's where it all happened in 95. Guy Dave Winters, his name. he was looking for an apprentice at the time, and I think I was actually on like school vacation, right? And was playing outside with my brother. The phone rang, and I went in there and answered the phone, and spoke to a lady, Kelly Winter, which is was Dave's wife at the time, and she asked me if I wanted to do an apprenticeship, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on vacation right now, so I'll get back to you. And then hung up the phone, and mum wanted to know who was on the phone. I was like, some lady asking about an apprenticeship. And she was like, well, did you say yes or what? And I was like, no. She's like, get back on the phone and tell them you're going to do your apprenticeship, you know?
Yeah.
Because I liked horses at the time. I was riding horses and stuff and was kind of interested in them. And, you know, so I rang her back and told her I'd like to give the apprenticeship a shot. And like I said, I was only in the first term of year 10, so I didn't get my high school certificate, you know, but went and got after the trade, and I done a 3-month trial period with Dave to see if I liked it and see for him to see if I wasn't retarded either.
So,
you know.
So wait a second. Did you know Dave at all before this?
No. So Scone's like a little country town, right? So
yeah.
They had just asked around people they know about some young guys that were into horses and stuff like that. So there was myself, another guy called Jade Smith, and Nick Birch were the 3 guys that they had names of. Well, Nick Birch and Jade Smith, they like to ride bulls. So that's kind of what snuck me in there, you know. Like,
did you get on bulls?
Figured out. Yeah, well, I figured out I couldn't ride bulls, Coop. So
okay, I didn't know that about you.
I'd already give that up, and then so Dave felt like I was going to be a better shot at staying healthy and under horses
because you were smart enough to not ride bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the trial period went good, and then, you know, I got the chance to start my apprenticeship, which it's just like the UK over there, you know. Like, once you start your apprenticeship, it's a 4-year gig. You know, you've got to go to block release schooling once a month. So the first week in every month, you run off to school to learn all the other stuff you need to know about shoeing horses. You know, you got to go do your bookwork and stuff, and you've got to do that for 3 years. Three years of block release schooling over there.
Damn.
But yeah, it was fun.
Is there like just one school you go to?
What's that? Sorry.
Is there just like one school that everybody in Australia goes to then? Like one that you guys all have to travel to, or is there multiple of them? Like, is this like a private deal?
There's one per state.
Oh, okay.
One per state. So I was in New South Wales, so we had to travel down. It was like a 3.5-hour trip down to the Richmond Ag College is where they held it. Okay. And, you know, it was all funded. The government pays for your rooms, and you get compensated for your gas and stuff like that. So, but it was fun. You know, you got to go hang out with a bunch of other young fellas, and, you know, it was I really enjoyed my apprenticeship for sure. Yeah.
So is that basically the classes you're taking, are they strictly for like farrier science or whatever, or is it kind of just a conglomerate?
Yeah. So you've got to do all your horse husbandry, like you do leg dissections, you got to do all your anatomy. We actually even had to do a full welding course, actually, and then
forge welding or like MIG, TIG,
everything, TIG, MIG, stick, aluminum, like brazing, soldering, like all different kinds. Yeah, we did even do a tool making class. We got to make our own driving hammer and a pair of tongs and all that stuff, you know. And then you do you got forging classes, and then, you know, you're shoeing. But they cover everything for sure. Yeah,
it's actually pretty cool. Where I went to school in Walla Walla, it's almost exactly the same as what you're talking about, where we had equine biology, and then we even had do a little bit of welding, like welding up punches. Then we did tool making, you know, all the other crap that goes along with, getting a degree.
That's it. And that's what you're working towards, you know, is your trade certificate. You know, you want to pass you got to pass all your classes. and then you get your ticket at the end of it. It's always like Mum and Dad told me. It's always something to fall back on, you know. Like if you're gonna drop out of school, you need to get a trade behind you. So that's the route I took, you know.
Well, there ain't no falling back now.
No regrets though. Yeah, no regrets. I wouldn't change a minute. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Could just anybody go to this block school, or did you have to already like be in a current apprenticeship to go to the schooling?
That's a pretty cool question actually, because the way it was working back then, there wasn't, like, you had to be underneath a master serving a 4-year apprenticeship to go to school, you know. But then, you know, it's like the same over here. There was a lot of backyard farriers over there that weren't certified, didn't have their trade certificate or anything like that, you know. So they actually designed a course for those guys. You know, and it may have changed now. It's been a lot of years since I've been over in Australia shoeing horses and stuff, you know. But so they came up with this course called the RPL course, Recognition for Prior Learning, was the course. And these backyard farriers could come in and they would do like weekend or weekly courses where you could go through and learn everything you need to learn and then sit your test to get your trade certificate, you know. Just to try and better horseshoeing, you know what I mean? Like,
so like if somebody had already like been shoeing horses for an extended period of time and didn't go through the apprenticeship, they could go through the RPL.
Exactly. And get certified and then, you know, get their trade certificate, you know. It was just trying to better the industry, you know, because a lot of, I'm not talking shit on them, but a lot of them backyard guys that go slap a set of shoes on for half the price.
Well, don't we have that in the United States?
We do, and that's what sucks over here, man. Like, you've got to be, but the cream always rises to the crop, though, dude. Like, those guys were never going to get hired by those massive thoroughbred farms, like those places. That's where I cut my teeth. And when I got asked to do an apprenticeship by Dave, I had no clue what I was getting into, but I was getting into a circle of farriers that are some of the best guys in the Southern Hemisphere. You know what I mean? Like, they were the cream of the crop, you know, but I had no clue, you know. But I was really interested in horses and definitely wanted to give it a shot, you know. And I was just lucky enough to be put around the right people to where the bad mistakes I were learning were pretty good bad mistakes, you know what I mean? So felt pretty lucky that way after I figured out what was going on. But it didn't take long.
Yeah.
You know, Dave had me in the shop making shoes, and I could actually make shoes before I could trim feet, you know. And then was lucky, like on the thoroughbred farms too, it's a lot of trims, man. That's kind of that's your bread and butter, you know. Like, you just in a big crew of about 7 or 8 farriers, going down a laneway, and you got guys on 4-wheelers running in mobs of 20 as far as the eye can see, you know. And you just trim.
Damn.
It was a lot of fun, like, and it's that team environment, you know. So I was brought up in a big team of farriers. So there was like 3 or 4 tradesmen at all times, and then 3 or 4, 5 apprentices too. So lots of different skill levels and stuff there, but there was always lots to learn, you know.
Yeah.
You weren't just stuck there watching one guy. There was multiple guys there you could kind of learn off. And
if you had questions, you could go to them type deal, or Yeah.
Well, I bet it's like it's a little bit it's probably like a team environment for the contest deal too. Is you have all this conglomerate of ideas coming in for the horse, you know. So it's not just one guy's idea driving the way. So like that probably like you have a lot of education in you pretty quickly. Then I would imagine like it's a lot coming at you.
You do, but it's good, and I think, I don't know, I was just at the right age too, you know. Like, I feel like when you're young, you're real eager to learn anyway, you know. You're still growing up, and, you know, I feel like you take learning a little bit more serious when you're young like that, you know. I'm not saying you can't when you're a little older, but You know what I mean? You really don't have an opinion then. You don't know. So it's like everything you gets thrown your way, you just soak it up, man. It's yeah.
Well, I like how like how much did you change from like that first day when Dave's wife called you and you just like weren't that interested? Like how quickly did your interest rate climb once you started
So
working with the dude?
when I got to see him shoe horses, like I said, I didn't realize how good he was. I didn't know what good or bad or anything was,
Yeah.
but I just get to see him shoe horses, and like I need to tell you this first though. So when I was riding horses, I had a guy come out and shoe my horse, right? And he drove out in a little hatchback, pulled a lump of railway sleeper out of the car, and a little short handled sledgehammer. And the shoes were too big, so he had my dad take them up the garage, chop the heels off with bolt cutters.
Holy
And he
shit.
came down and
Cold.
shaped them up, and he nailed them on my horse. But he fixed my horse because when I was riding that horse, I didn't know you had to shoe him. And I would ride my horse to town, and I rode the foot smooth off her, man. She
I
was
bet.
crippled. So I had to get a horseshoe, and so that's what I figured out what horseshoeing was. But he fixed my horse, and I thought that was pretty cool. Even though it was a heinous job, he did no harm, and he made my horse better. So I thought, man, that horseshoeing stuff's
I'm
pretty cool.
guessing he wasn't one of the dudes that was certified by the state.
He wasn't one
like
of the
he was
dudes,
one.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the dudes. But when I seen Dave, so when I got with Dave and I seen him like hot shaping shoes and pulling clips, and then he would shoe those old crippled thoroughbred mares with just rotten front feet, and they'd hobble into him and then they'd trot out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was like, man, that's super cool, and working on all the traditional stuff. So that's pretty big over there. Them thoroughbred farms, because they're obviously getting sold as yearlings, right? And they're judged real heavily on their conformation. So, dealt with a lot of the angular limb deformities and stuff, and foals in that, and got to watch him straighten legs up, and I was just hooked, man. I thought it was the coolest stuff ever,
The bee's knees.
Yeah, the bees and E's, Coop. That's it. Yeah.
So, how long did you shoe horses there, and until you moved to the United States?
To the States, yeah. So, I served my 4-year apprenticeship, and then, Dave offered to keep me on, subcontracting. I picked up a couple of thoroughbred farms of my own through those guys.
Yeah.
And I was kind of living on the beach at the time, man. I was dating this chick, living down on the coast, and had 2 thoroughbred farms, and I'd sub for Dave a little bit here and there. So I would shoe horses. I'd shoe as many, and this is right after my apprenticeship. That's when you first see the dollar signs, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was on the apprentice wages, and then I started seeing the dollar signs. So
of doing it by yourself.
Living on the beach, I'd travel up to the Hunter Valley,
Hoodrich,
and I'd shoe as many horses and trim as many horses as I could from Tuesday through Thursday, and then I'd go back to the beach and go fishing. But
fishing for something.
It was a good time. I ran my own business, kind of like that, for a couple of years, and then Dave actually. He knows a lot of guys over here, so he spent a lot of time with Bob Pethick and Dan Hausman, and he's been around Jim Paul, Shane Carter, all those guys. They used to come over and compete at Calgary and stuff.
Nice.
So, I had my own business for a couple of years after my apprenticeship, and then Dave was on a trip back over to the States at the time, and he rang me and said, "Hey, I'm working for this guy. He's got a lot of horses, and wants to get a big shoeing practice on the roll." He was like, "There's a job over here if you want it, So I was still young at the time, man. I think I was 23, about to turn 23.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'd love to come over. So then just started the whole process of trying to get work visas and all, and that was pretty tough back then. You had to have a sponsor and all this stuff. And,
was that when you told me you'd worked with the multi-farrier practice? Was it up in Pilot Point, right?
Yeah, up in Pilot Point.
Was
That's where I went.
was that
Yeah.
that where you started?
That was the gig, yeah, for a guy called Gene Cunningham was his name.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a whole pile of us. So there was 3 Aussie fellas over there. It was like Dave, myself, and Brad Hins. Me and Brad came over at the same time. Dave kind of put us onto the job, you know. So there was 3 of us Aussie boys, and then another guy, Pete May. He's from Texas, you know. So
Yeah,
he
I
was
remember
working
meeting
for him,
him.
and then yeah, and there was, man, he had a lot of, I think there was like 5 or 6 rigs running up and down the road every morning,
All
there
working
for a
for this
while,
one business.
all working for I think what was it? It was Elite, or no, I can't remember off the top of my head right now what that was, but
It's unreal.
yeah, big old shindig, man, and it was a lot of fun too. Like, that was a learning curve for me as well, coming over shoeing thoroughbred feet.
Yep.
And hadn't really been under many quarter horses and stuff. And I got over here and I crippled a bunch of them. Crippled a bunch of them. I just went to try and find the bottom of them, man. And, yeah, it was a learning curve. It was a big learning curve, yeah.
Goddamn. Just taking them short then, huh?
I did. Those quarter horses, man, they just grow a pile of everything. You know what I mean? And I was just trying, yeah, it was a learning curve, you know. Took a little bit to figure out.
What was it that like encouraged you to come over? Was it just that Dave was over here doing the thing? Like, was the pay encouraging, or just like new adventure? Just young and wanted to go somewhere new?
I'd say a little bit of everything, man. Like, I was young at the time, and I definitely wanted to travel and see a little bit more of the world, you know?
Yeah.
And then David also, like I said, they always competed at Calgary, and Calgary was still cracking back then when I first come over in 2003 and stuff, you know? So I was by no means ready to go to Calgary or anything back then, but Dave did also tell me during my apprenticeship, he's like, when you get done with your apprenticeship, you need to go to the States and hang out with some of them guys over there, you know, because competition was a big part of the apprenticeship too. Like, he heavily influenced me into getting into competing, you know. So the first horse I ever nailed shoes on was actually at a contest. Like, he ended me up in the novice class, and I'd never shot a horse before. I could shape shoes and clip shoes and stuff, but I had to nail on my first set of the contest, man.
At a contest.
I didn't get done though. I ran out of time. I didn't
oh, really?
But
what made you run out of time?
Yeah, I didn't get the back foot clinched up.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
Oh.
Well, that sucks.
Ran out of time.
Was that a pretty big like morale booster or like downer?
I mean, it's like sink or it was like sink or swim, man. I felt like I got thrown into the deep end without floating.
Back at the beach again.
But it sounds like the whole entire shoeing practice wasn't real lax. You know, it sounds like it was kind of always on the go. So like competition, was it even weird, or was it like, man, this is every day?
It was just like every day, man. And you still got a little, that competitive nature would kick in when you're getting close to the contest and you get nervous about how you're going to do. And, you know, you want to do well. You want to please your boss. You know, you want to make him proud.
Yep.
Because Dave was pretty salty too. Like, he'd won many titles in Australia. You know what I mean? Like, he was a big time competitor too. So, just wanted to make him proud and stuff. And I get nervous in that, but I'm glad that that's what the normal was. You know what I mean? It wasn't something that was new later on. Like, that's just how it's always been, you know?
I mean, it basically just kind of like projected the rest of your career, right? I mean, you've done a lot of competing.
Exactly, man. And it did. Like, I was kind of stagnant when I came over to the States as far as competing went, you know, because it was such a big learning curve anyway, man. For me, shoeing reiners and cutters and halter horses and I was trying to figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, how to shoe these things. And we didn't really compete, but Dave was going to go back home, and he told me before he left, he was like, "You need to start competing again." He's like, "It'll sharpen your skills again, and you'll only do better
before
from
you
it."
left Australia, he told you to start competing again.
But no, before Dave, when we were all over here in the States working together, before he went back to Australia, I stayed over here for a little longer, So, but he told me to start competing right before he went back to Australia, He's like, "You need to do that." So, rattled off a few names, like Mark Milster and Bob and Dan and the guys he knew, Jim Paw and stuff like that. He's like, "You need to just call them, man, and tell them who you are and tell them you want to come learn, So it wasn't long after that. I think you guys remember him, old Mick Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember old Mick? Well, Mick come over, and I'd been competing I guess the certification is what got me fired back up into competing over here again, because I was still only in Australia like an intermediate competitor, so I was still pretty wet behind the ears, pretty green. But I started hanging around with some guys around the Weatherford area like Jake Whitman and Paul Keller and these guys, they'd have this shop night, and we'd go out there, and Jake Whitman was a tester back then. And, Paul was going for his CF or CJF or whatever. So we were all hanging out in the shop. And then they told me, you just need to go get your certification done. So I did that, and that kind of lit the fire again to start competing again, because I did the certification. You do all your bar shoe,
the shoe board modifications,
your shoe board mods and stuff like that. And I made a little straight bar shoe and stuff, and went and passed the certification test, and then went straight to. That's when I got introduced to the WCB, and I still remember that first one, man.
Where was it?
It was in Shreveport, Louisiana. I think it was 2012.
Was that the first contest in America you went to?
That was it. WCB.
The first one,
2012, nice. Shreveport.
First one since you've been back in the States with the WCB. Did you do the novice or just Cat 1?
I ended up in. I just felt like. I fit in Div 2. So I just entered Div 2 straight off the bat because I was an intermediate competitor back home and I could run a fire and I could do all that. So I was like, I just feel like I'll go in Div 2 and see how I go.
How did it go?
And I got whipped. I was third. I was third last on the whole list. Third last, man.
Yeah.
Mark Milster was the judge. And we had to make a pair of bevels out of 1/2 x 1 bob punch toe clip. I turned the bevels inside out.
So the bevels are on.
Yeah, dude, it was gnarly, man. And then a pair of jar cork hinds out of 3/8.
Those are hard as it is.
Oh,
that was a nightmare.
They never go on.
And I qualified for the shoeing because that's only because there wasn't enough people there, So
there's only like 38.
I got shoe horse.
But by default, you were in by default, man.
I got in there. I had the spreaders and everything.
Shoes,
man.
Yeah. Dude, Craig's eyes had to be big as saucers. When you cranked those,
I used them too, man.
You used them.
Of course.
You're right out.
I wonder if you're the only person.
I didn't know no better, Coot. That's probably Dave's only bad habit is he taught me how to use some spreaders.
I wonder if you're the only person that's ever used shoe spreaders at a WCB.
Man, I've heard rumors old Mark Milster will tote some spreaders around.
Well, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, no, that's it.
That's the first time I saw Lamar Weaver do a clinic. He busted out a pair of spreaders.
Oh, Lamar!
And somebody started saying something to him about him. He's like, "When you can fit feet as good as me, you can tell me to not use these damn things."
Yeah, that's funny stuff.
Oh, So that had to be a pretty big eye opener, though. That first time that a WCB,
Oh,
did
man.
you? So you probably got home and like, did you just get to business?
I did. I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like it, and that's what
Like,
opened
this ain't gonna
that
happen to me
first
again.
one. That's when Cody Gregory, and I got to meet Cody Gregory. I got to meet Chris Madrid, and
Yeah.
I got to see, Austin Edens was actually competing,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I got to see all these guys, man. And
Jake Engler would have been going
like,
at that time too, huh?
yeah, and like, well, actually, I don't think Jake was there. Actually, there was a whole pile of dudes, and just hungry, and I think the match play class was a tool and fullered. It was like a Hunter
Oh
front,
boy.
and
Jeez.
watching guys, just dude, it was awesome, man. I was hooked after that. I entered the next one. Next one was in Fort Worth. That's actually where I got to meet Craig. Craig came out and did a clinic, and I met Craig at Paul Keller's, and that's kind of, he hit me up about getting horses and stuff, for the Fort Worth gig and stuff like that. So we were able to make that happen, and so we go to Fort Worth is the next one, and I think Austin Edens was the judge actually at that one, and yeah, did a lot better, man. But it was like I was excited to get to the next one. You know what I mean? So it definitely lit a pretty big fire. I was, pretty pumped about it, man.
Were your
It excited me.
results any better?
Yeah, they were. They were. So, running up through the divisions was tough, man. Like, it was humbling, because, I got to go in there and see Chad Chance was doing real good at the time. And he was, he's doing real good. And then I think my second year at Div 2, like, I was competing against Tom Peterson, man.
Damn.
And, like, Tom whipped my ass at
I
every
bet.
one of them. I was like, always the bridesmaid, never the groom, man. Like, I was getting second place all the time to Tom.
I mean, a lot of people have come second place to
he,
Tom.
I know it. I know it, and but just kept chipping away at it, man, and was just patient. And, I thought I wanted to jump up divisions after a year in them, but I hadn't won one. So, I listened to people that were like, move up after you've won one, man. He's, your time will come. And I was, man. I just hang out in that division until it started happening. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's when you're ready to take the next step, man. Is when you can, you prove yourself in that division as being a worthy competitor. For everyone else in that division,
right?
How long did it take you jumping to go through till you made it on the WCB team?
I think it took me 4 years. 4 years, but I didn't. I actually made the WCB team out of my Cat 3
Yeah, I remember
year.
that.
So I was going to be open. I had won Cat 3.
Yep.
Won the division or whatnot, but then I actually qualified, and Cody, and it's like this all the time too, but it's like Cody, I was in fifth hole or something like that, but Cody had been on the team forever, man. He wanted a spell, so, everyone moves up a slot, and I made the team that year out of Cat 3, and was definitely the rookie, though.
Were you on it with,
was
Lamar,
on the team that
Tom,
year
and
with
Chris?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But couldn't have happened at a better time, though. To get the chance to work underneath 3 other guys that are like way handier than you are.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's just what you have to do, man, to get better. Like, you need to be the guy that sucks, and you just need to go back to listening, watching, and just trying to get better, man.
I guess
Were you on the Cat 2 team as well?
Yes, I was on that team. That was the first year they ever had that. Actually, I qualified for the Cat 2 team, and we got to go over to England and stuff, and that was super cool.
Did you guys?
I think Chris and Craig for that a lot because way cool
Did you
experience.
guys
Yeah.
go to Andy Reader Smith's shop as well beforehand?
We didn't go to Andrew Ritter Smith. We went to oh man. Come on now. Going blank. Um Mark Evans.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool. Like they were very hospitable folks. The Cat 2 team actually got to stay down the road in bed and breakfast.
Yep.
Got served mountain foods every
Yep.
morning, you know. And it was awesome. Got to get in the shop with all those guys, got to watch the open boys compete, and yeah, super cool trip, you know.
And that was Stoneleigh, right?
Super big.
It was that no, it wasn't Stoneleigh, it was that Yorkshire comp they have, Yorkshire team contest they
yeah.
have. Yeah. It's actually there's a 4-man forging class, but there's no 4-man on the horse. It's all 2-man stuff, like shoeing the side of a horse.
Okay.
So we just split up into teams, a front footer and a hind footer, and then I think you had to shoe a pair of feet like a roadster shoeing, do a cob shoeing on it, and then make a pair of specimens as well in like an hour and a half.
This was the quick, open, or what you guys did at the?
That was the open.
Yeah.
That was the open, and
I was gonna say I don't remember the intermediate or the
novice guys. It was just forging. Yeah, just forging. Yeah. But a lot of fun. Yeah.
What did you have, Riley?
Oh, nothing. So like after that, so did you go right from the Cat 2 team right into the WCB team the next year?
No. So Tom did the same shit in Div 3. So I think it was I done a year in Div 2 and I done 2 years in Cat 3. And then the second year in Cat 3, you know, I was able to make the team that year. But
how many years were you guys on the team together?
Just 2 together actually, and we all actually qualified again for another go at it. But I think myself and Lamar, you know, Money too at the time, just kind of wanted a bit of a spell, man. Like
you guys were winning all the time, right?
Well, and that was I'm not saying I couldn't do it again, and I do want to do it again, but like that's the hardest that's the most effort and hardest I've worked towards anything. Like all of us wanted to win so bad that we spent a lot of time on the road, man. Like we practiced every month. We went to all the WCBs, you know, and we, you know, done a couple of international trips and got ready for the classic and all that stuff. But we practiced every month, you know, and it's just that's a lot on the plate, man. But that's what it takes.
Did you guys do Yorkshire and Stoneleigh in the same year?
No, so the WCB team could never do.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They've never been able to squeeze into Stoneleigh,
right,
you know. So we were and we got to do the Calgary Invitational stuff, and that was a lot of fun. The Canadian boys up there, they're all a good time. You know, we went up there, did a few contests, and did the Yorkshire gig, and yeah, you know, kind of wish Craig had his little. The classic was in full swing back then too, you know.
Yeah,
and that was definitely one of my favorite ones. I think for a lot of people too, you know, like that was the atmosphere up there at the classic was, you know, something else, man. It's something I'll never forget, you know, remember for the rest of my life, man. And we're lucky enough to get the win there the second year we're all together, you know, so that was super cool. Yeah.
At that time, Classic was pretty much the international competition on our soil.
It was, and
all those teams came.
You can ask anyone that stepped foot in that arena. Doesn't matter where they came from. They were like, this is the best thing out there. Like, this is
and very evenly judged.
It's a horseshoe, man, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's like, I you know, like, I'm sure it's hard to think of yourself this way, but it's like in our horseshoeing times, we've had a couple golden teams. You know what I mean? So probably our first golden team, no one's going to really argue it too much, would be, Bob, Shane, Jim,
Yeah.
and Craig, or even, when Bob wasn't on it, it was, Quick, Jim Poor, Shane, and Craig. Like that, those are pretty much the golden teams of that time. Pretty hard thing to keep up with.
Yeah.
But and say my generation of horseshoeing, you guys were our golden team. Of you, Tom, Chris, and Lamar, like you guys were it. You guys were
whipping ass and taking names.
Yeah.
You guys were hard to beat, man. Hard to beat. You guys were all going pretty hard. So looking at it from the outside, what was your guys' practices like when you guys got together? How intense were they?
Everyone's competing, and it's every man for himself. Even though on the surface it looks like you're a great team, be top
dog.
You're like,
it didn't. It looked like a battle, man, and it should be. I think.
Yeah, no one wanted to be last.
You know what I mean? Dog.
So it was like everyone was going for first, dude. So, but everyone was just hungry, man. Everyone wanted it just as much as their teammate. You know what I mean? And I think that was the driving force behind it all, man. We were all at that spot, and money's never been any different anyway. Like from the moment I met him, dude, like that sucker is one of the most competitive people I know, man. And he always will be, though. Like that's just him, but that fire will never go out for that man. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think at the time, man, we all had the same picture in mind. We know what we wanted to achieve. We're all hungry, and we're all super competitive at the time.
So was it that way though? Even like when you guys were like even talking about like orders operations, trimming and stuff like that, was it a competition of like, well, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, or was it just like you almost shut your head off and just listen to your teammate? Like how, or like I'm interested to know like how the egos went during goes or during critiques even,
It was so super critical of everyone's work, it wasn't nothing for Tom to go snag horses from the neighbor and bring them down, and we just hash out some trim shit.
Yeah.
Like if someone's running off the res a little bit,
you guys just go grab a horse and just figure it out.
The team thinks someone needs to be dialed in on something, then that's what happened, man. Like that's between horses, It's like, and we would always try and do the same discipline for the day. When we do a practice,
you'd be doing tool and forward all day, or
you try and do three. Yeah, we were doing three horses a day, and that's it. And then the next one just needs to be a little better than the last one. And it's like you're working on your weaknesses, So the first one's always a little rusty, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it just is. Like it seems to be that way. So couldn't wait. You just get that first one in, get it out of the way. Try to keep it between the muss and the mayonnaise, and then get horse number 2 in, and then have your little powwow. What are we doing here? Trying to work out the little niches, because I feel like that's when we hit our stride, was our second year together. First year was all it was a lot of figuring out, man. Trying to figure each other out.
Sniff each other out.
Sniff each other out, And the second year was where we got it dialed in, man. And we stuck to our corners, and our system was rock solid, knew our measurements, and we practiced a lot.
What do you remember what your system was when you guys first started together the first year, and what your system was when you went into your second year?
So, it didn't change just a whole lot. I think as far as the corners go, we kind of hashed it out. We had a little sit down. Everyone put their hand up on a corner. I like the left front. Tom was wanting to do a front foot too, and then them guys on the back, so I've always been the lead guy. always, and money's always been the anchor, you know what I mean, on that team. And uh, it just worked really good. Like, I didn't mind, you know, I didn't mind jumping in on the heel of the anvil or pushing my way into the forge or
getting it done.
I just fit good as an anchor guy, you know what I mean? So, and you've got to be fast, but I feel like, the only slow guy on that team was Lamar, man, but that's how he needs to be. You know what I mean? If you give Lamar his time, man, then you can't beat him on the scorecard. So
serious.
That's just how it was,
You were trying to let him have as much time as he
that's
could.
That's just how it was. And yeah, well, Tom's fast, Money's fast. I feel like I'm pretty quick too. So it was like Lamar didn't need to. Yeah, he just got to do whatever the hell he just needed. He could be Edward Scissorhands, man. Go over there and do his deal, But once I think the system got worked out pretty good, and that's all it is. We were lucky enough to practice with Cat 6 a little bit too. We we just thought very highly of them, and they were the ones with the target on their back at the time. You know what I mean? They were the ones everyone was trying to beat. So they were kind of enough to let us.
I hate to leave them out of like the golden team deal. I definitely didn't forget about them, but like they were a put together team. But they were definitely bad motherfuckers. Obviously,
yes they were. Yes they were, man. And they're just, like I said, they were nice enough to let us come to Chad's and practice with them and stuff like that. And it's just I just feel like I'm lucky, man. I've just been lucky to get put in front of the right people.
Yeah, but no, man, you're a hard fucking worker. Like that's what it comes down to. Like it's not like you aren't lucky or nothing. Like I've watched you work enough times. Like you're skilled, you're a hard worker. I mean, I don't know anybody else that can do a whole go and smoke a pack of cigarettes in the middle of the go and not be winded.
I'm a little kinder on myself now, but I'm still,
Yeah, you switched to the vape from the regular.
Times you gotta do that.
But so were you on the team then? You were just the guy that like you were gonna get on the foot first. Then you were just gonna get your shit done and out of the way.
Yeah. So pretty much, like you always tweak it a little bit, right? So me and Tom would get it figured out. It's like if you bounce back and forth a bit, like the magic system for us was me and Tom on the feet, Lamar and Money on the anvil, and we just stagger our trim a little bit, right? So you pick the foot up and you just worried about doing like sole and frog work, So you pick it up, you do a little sole and frog work, and then you let Tom do his, and you're watching each other's shit, and then do a little nipper each, stagger it a bit, just to let the guys kind of get some shit done on the anvil. Let them get to where they need to be. I don't need to be over there yet, but I got to stick to, like, we'd shoot for 10 minutes for me on the foot, and then I feel like I always went over 10 minutes. So, you always want that. I look at it like this: is you don't want to put a sour warhead in the judge's mouth on the first thing they look at on the horse. Like, you're the first guy, and if you're quick at trimming,
it's true.
You're going to be the first dude that gets looked at, period, at the contest. You're the first one, so you want it to be good, right? So, but Tom's there. We're a team. Tom's helping. He's eyeballing it. I'm eyeballing it. So I feel like we get our trims pretty good, and then once I bounce off, then it just starts the chain reaction of once I bounce off the anvil, off the horse, go to the anvil, well then Lamar's back over to the horse, and then Tom's right behind me, and team was close, man. Like Tom was on my ass the whole way. It's like you really couldn't make a slip up because he was 2 heats behind me in the shoemaking, and then 2 trips behind me in the fitting, and it's like
he was almost
right on
gaining
it,
on you a little bit.
But yeah, and there, there's a time, and I feel like you should never try and jump someone. Like that stuff happens, people make mistakes. And so if I'd make a mistake and Tom would jump me, like that's when shit doesn't go very smooth,
Like
or, even on these other teams with boat, like the one I just got done with, the Four Horsemen with Bodie and Chris and Chad, Bodie's super fast, man. And he was always on my tail, and, he'd be putting the pressure on me, be like, how close are you? I'm like, man, I still got to do this. He's like, well, I'm going to jump you, And it's like, it probably would have been fine if he didn't tell me he was going to jump me. But when he told me he was going to jump me, I hit the brake pedal. Yeah, I hit the brake pedal. So then I was like, well, he's going to go before me. So then I start backing off. And then it just upsets the whole apple cart, man. And that's when shit goes south, You got to stick to the system, You can't stray from it. Like, once you've got a system that's worked and you've practiced it and stuff, like, stick to the system.
Yep.
But I feel like that's key, man.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Do you think it would have ever worked to just have Bodie go before you?
It's either, see, and I'm good with that, but it's like I feel like that wasn't his spot, So I was lead, and then Chad was the take your time guy, and then Bodie's another fast guy. So Bodie's on second. So that's just how it is, man. Stick to the system.
It's just like, was it a mental fuck to you, like if he would jump you, or is it because that he said he was jumping you? Like if he would have just did it without saying it, would it have messed you up?
I wouldn't have known. Yeah, I wouldn't have known, because then I start taking more time because he said he's going to jump me. So that was like, it was a bit of a mental fuck for me. It's like, well, now I get to take all the time in the world.
It almost just slows down the whole process.
Yeah, and then it slows down the whole thing, and then we're taking Money's time and Chad's time, and chain reaction.
And it's funny though, because you in Bodie's head he ain't trying to slow shit down.
No.
Like I catch myself doing that. So like even on our team right now, we got a new system going, and I'm third man.
Yep.
And I catch myself racing. Like I'm trying to match play shoes, and it's like, maybe that's not what I should be doing. Like that might be fucking shit up. Like,
I wouldn't know what to do if you put me any other place but anchor though. Like that's, like I said, that's all I've ever done, and I know where I need to be, and that's just what I know. But I would get lost if I had to go second or third or be the anchor or something like that and wasn't lead. I would get lost, man. I feel,
Well, how does it feel like jumping on a team with guys at that level? Like, do you guys have to like compete for who's the top guy on the team, or you guys just kind of know where you fall in line, or everybody gets along, or?
Yeah, like I feel like, all the teams I've ever been on, I've been on with Chris, man, with Money, and like I don't know, I asked Money, we were sitting at the bar in Eureka, Nevada after a contest, and, we'd had a few drinks, and I spouted off. I told him, I was like, I'm going to whip your ass one day, man, and he just started laughing at me, and I said, but I'm going to need your help, He just started laughing, but I started traveling out to Money's, man, and I feel like I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for him, dude. Like, he showed me a lot, I owe a lot of my small success to him, man, because
he was there to help you out.
Like I said, he drove me to get better, and we spent a lot of time together, and he's the one that kind of got me over the hump, man.
Yeah, I remember even driving out there a couple times with you, headed out to Chris, making that long drive out there from Weatherford.
It is a long drive, man. It is a long drive. Not a whole lot to look at, but Yes, a lot of fun. A lot of fun though. But yeah, so I feel like every team I've been on has been with money, and even when we weren't on the WCB team and he was having a spell, like I said, he's super competitive. Yeah. He can't help himself.
Got to get back into
he's
it.
He's got to compete, man. And so he threw that Flatland Forge team together, and that was with that was Chris, myself, Chad Chance, and Robbie McGearis. Another super good team, And I think we were third that year at the Classic. That's what we were getting together to go compete at, was the Classic. And yeah, we ended up third that year. And I thought that was a pretty good effort for us. I feel like Money had his work cut out trying to get that.
I mean, that was
that team
placing
across
behind
the finish
like
line,
and then like Stephen Bean's team, right? Yeah, I mean, those
exactly.
Guys,
yeah,
top of the game, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are Team Flatland Forge.
Like I said, they were the ones with the bullseye on their back then, and it just, it felt good to be competitive. Like, I knew we were getting close, I knew we were getting close.
Well, where do you see yourself now? Do you think you're going to still keep competing, or what's like on the horizon for you?
Yeah, so, it was just this year. But for me, it feels like 5 years ago now, but it was just back in February, man. I was on the Four Horsemen, and we had a good series. We won, lucky enough to win the series, won 2 out of the 3. And
have you been out there to Riley's place, Robert?
It's on the bucket list.
It's in the middle of nowhere, and he's got like no cell service or nothing. So
yeah, he's out there. Yeah, no, I definitely on the bucket list, man. Like, get up there, and I got to learn to make a hammer sooner or later.
Well, maybe we'll have you out here to Riley's place, and then we can do another podcast in person.
Yeah, that would be great. Anytime. I feel like what you guys have got going on here, it's going to be a good deal. Like, everyone likes to listen to someone tell their story, so.
I mean, I find myself
definitely
just listening to podcasts every day versus like music anymore, Yeah.
Yeah, they're addicting.
And that's kind of what we were thinking about doing, and trying to get some other knowledge,
It's me.
He's kind of back.
He's back.
All right. Well, so we're still in the learning curve of the whole podcast world. That's for damn sure. And it doesn't help that I live out in the middle of the fucking woods. So I have crap internet, and I was just like sitting up at the landlord's place because he has like a Wi-Fi router, but it still didn't work out great. And I lost internet when we were trying to record this before, and then my laptop died, and so it was pretty good. It was a chain of reactions here. So now instead, I'm sitting on the side of the road near a cell phone tower in my horseshoeing trailer with the inverter powering the lights and the laptop here. So we're gonna see how this goes.
That's awesome. Yeah,
making it work.
Yeah, we're just keep trying here. Just keep knocking on the door.
I see it.
But so I missed out a little bit on the tool making part, but it's a part that I wanted to dive in with you, Robert, that you were like, you've kind of like redefined, not even redefined, but like fine-tuned fullers for most horseshoers, man. Like you make a jewel of a fuller, and I would just love to hear your thought process on them, and like, maybe just like where you put the parameters on them, like what you're looking for in one when you're going to forge one out, and maybe your whole entire process. Start us out if you haven't covered already with Gavin. Tell us what you start with, how your process about them, and go from there.
Yeah, they were. I was just super interested in them. Like Money once again showed me a lot of things, and that's one of the things I learned from him too, was how to make the the Fullers, and that was at a part in my career where I was pretty mean to tools anyway, because I was learning and buying
Beating
Fullers,
them
and
up.
I was beating
Oh, yeah.
tools up, so
Driving them into the anvil
driving them
face.
into the anvil, man, and just being real mean to them. But so Chris, mate,
We've all been there.
yeah, we're still there too some days. But um, once I got a handmade Fuller off Chris and I used it and stuff, it was and he handmade, it's just the tool making in general. He hand makes a lot of his tools, as do you too, Riley. And I just really noticed the difference from handmade to stuff that you can buy out of the store. And there's definitely good tool makers out there that mass produce them, and they're good serviceable tools and stuff. But I still feel like you get a lot more out of a handmade tool than something you can buy off the shelf. So yeah, it got really stuck once I started making the Fullers. I just really enjoyed it, man. It's that moving metal. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same as making shoes. It's like once you understand how metal comes to the hammer, because I would say, yeah, I know what you mean, but I didn't know what that meant when someone said metal comes to the hammer. It took a little while for me to sink in.
That saying gets thrown out all the fucking time.
It does.
And I'm with you. I don't think I understood what the hell it really meant completely until like 3-4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
Like it started grabbing onto me a little bit. But
Yeah.
like, so what does that mean to you?
So it's kind of hard to explain really, but when metal comes to the hammer, when you truly understand that is when you can take excess material from one end of the tool and move it down to the other end. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a Rubik's Cube, man. Like, if you just play with it and you understand it enough, you can take it from one end and put it right down in the other end if you truly understand it,
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. Of like, I imagine you kind of feel this too. Is like, you feel you can smear the metal with your hands so much just with like the movement of your fingertips on the handle shaft, like where things are going.
Exactly.
And I one of those fine examples, I think you could like have one guy draw some clip sources, so they're all, or you a machine draw or whatever, and everybody could have the same clip source.
Right.
But depending on who draws the clip and how they draw the clip is going to depend on how big that clip's going to get.
Exactly.
Like, and how nice it's going to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that is a big thing. I think I still don't know if I fully understand how to move it.
Do you think you
off.
develop like a sense of trust in it, versus like something you've made versus something you've bought?
You do, and I think
in a tool like that.
I think the more you make them too, like, so obviously, I feel like grinding's the hardest part of them now. You know what I mean? And that makes you realize how sloppy you were forging when you go to grinding, because they are a lot of work to grind up. If, you can knock one out off the hammer and grind up the striking end, grind up the cutting end, and it's not going to work any better than if you dole it all up. But it's like that craftsmanship too, right? So you want to put a tool out there that looks super cool and pleasing to the eye and stuff like that. So to do that, it does take a lot of work grinding them up, to have something that looks really nice too. But, the grinding definitely makes you improve on your forging, you know what I mean? Like when you're missing a little corner down on the cutting edge, like you've got to remove so much of the blade just to get that corner back, and it's like if I'd have just taken one more heat, I could have pushed the metal around and the blade would have been an eighth of an inch longer,
That's probably a pretty fine example of moving metal, like steel coming to the hammer right there, huh?
Exactly.
Just forging that tip back.
Exactly. getting your corners. I feel like the fullers, it's all about building corners, right? Because you start off with, I like inch round. One of the biggest reasons I like using round is drifting my eye,
S
you know.
S7 or H13?
H13. Like, I have made a lot out of S7, but I just feel like H13 is a little more forgiving when it's all said and done. Like,
Like less cracking in half or
exactly,
what?
yeah, less, and even not even catastrophic failure, just chipping off the striking end and stuff. I feel like S7 chips a lot more than H13 does.
It for sure. I think like I like be careful here of saying this, but it's like I don't know.
I was gonna say because that's what you
I
typically
use
make a lot of your hammers out
a
of.
ton of S7, man, and that's why I want to like be a little. But it's like, and I use it for axes, and so what I'm about to say, people could like think is contradictive to what I'm fucking doing. But it's
why are you making that?
when you get S7 down to a fine edge, it doesn't like it as much as H13.
Right.
I think you're right. H13 is a little more forgiving, where S7 is a little more fragile.
Yes.
And so S7 favors mass. That's why, like, on a hammer S7, it's pretty okay. It's got mass on its side.
Yeah,
so the same thing at grinding the axe. It's got
I
to
don't
be
disagree
kind
with
of
that
have a
at
little
all.
mass.
Yeah. But I'm trying to make a whole bunch of fullers right now. Me and Adam Farr are going to have a booth out at the convention, so trying to get a whole bunch of them piled up to take out there to the convention, and just try to mix it up a little bit too. Like I don't want to say it's my style, but I just kind of took a little bit of what I seen of all the fullers, and then just that kind of little style that I have just kind of evolved, and it's kind of what I've stuck to, and I kind of perfected it. And so, I'll have a big batch of them, but I like those, we had a few of them contests too, where Travis Swenson's one where we had to make a fuller and then build the draft shoe and stuff. And through doing that, we learned to make the straight blade, so I like making them too, the old straight blade style fullers,
Something a little different.
Something a little different, man, get a little batch of them out there. And I've actually used a few of them too. And like, I like this style. I feel like you can see around them real good. And, I feel like, when you get into grinding them too, that's what I learn a lot about. Like, you can do a lot with the blade for different radiuses and stuff like that, so short, like when I said, like the width of the blade, I think you want to keep it on most of your stuff. I think you want to keep it about 3/4 of an inch. I think if you get beyond that, it straightens your branch out when you fuller it, and it doesn't want to go around corners, wants to be choppy, and it's just a lot of work getting them ground up to run. But I think if you spend the time, get them ground up, then they just run themselves. You don't really have to fight them at all. They just... Go ahead.
One thing that's known for sure is like you can walk around like at a contest or whatever, and you can see somebody's tool tray, and if you see a fuller down there, and you can automatically know like, oh, that's a Robert Jukes fuller. Like you definitely have pinpointed that down.
Yeah, no, and it's cool. That's super cool to see too, though, because I don't know how long I've been making them and really selling them. It's been a while now, since I was back on the team and stuff, and it's cool. I still see them around.
Well, I remember when you were first making them.
Yeah,
I was there with you.
That's right, we were.
So, however many years ago that was,
had the old
6-7 years ago.
The old square eye drifts and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So why isn't the square eye good? Why would that not be favorable?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like that big old square hole, man, and I felt like my handles didn't like it either. So, the drift.
It also
Go ahead.
It also gives a big old fucking weak corner to crack
Big
to.
old corner, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. Big old nasty corner. But I think the drifts, they're an underrated tool. You know, I think I'm going to sell a few of them at the convention too, because you don't really see them much, man. And it seems like a lot of people are wanting to get into tool making and stuff now, and at least try it, you know. So I think,
Yeah, I know a lot of people have asked, like, over the years, like, well, where do you get the drifts to make them? You know, like, I want to make a fuller or whatever. Like, where do you get the drift? And it's like, well, you just got to make one. And then they're like, well, I don't know how to do that.
yeah,
I'll tell you the worst part about selling them right now. I've sold some of them in the past, and you know this about an eye punch and a drift just as much as I know this, is you beat the shit out of them.
best I can do with one is 3 fullers, and then but that's record status, man. Like, I got through 3 fullers without tuning one, you know.
So now you got this guy that he didn't even want to take the time the first time. I'm not even calling anybody out of a person. I'm just saying in general, right? You got this guy. He didn't even want to go through the time of making his own eye punch, which in reality you don't even have to punch an eye to make the eye punch. All you got to do is just kind of draw out a piece in a fucking long forward punch or a short pritchel, however you want to look at it, and round off the edges and weld it to a handle. So you got a guy that wasn't willing to do that. So he bought your tool. That tool now gets wrecked in 2 or 1 fuller. He's getting 1 fuller. You get 3, he's getting 1.
Yeah.
And so he wrecks in 1 fuller. He's not mad at himself.
He's pissed at
He's
you.
mad at
Goddamn you.
You know, making son of a bitch. Yeah.
He's like, this pile of shit. He just turned into the worst horseshoeing client that is mad that the shoe fell off when she turned him out in 2 feet of mud.
It is.
Like, it's the same thing.
It is.
That's why you don't see them for sale, because nobody wants to do the warranty work on the damn things.
It's they do. Yeah. That's a workhorse of a tool, man. They cop it bad, you know. But they cop it bad. But I think I don't know. I noticed, you know, I've watched a bunch of your videos, Riley, and I noticed you use a like, you kind of split them open, huh? You don't punch like a slug out. Like, are your drifts set up to where, like, you slit it
slugs.
Open? Oh, it's slugs. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. It still slugs out. It's just it's a real fine point.
Fine point. Yeah.
It is. It's a pretty small slug. Where, if I remember right, your eye punches are a little more straight up and down.
Yeah, not as much taper on it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. In which those drive easier when you're using a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
When they're straight up and down, but they'll cause more damage sometimes. They'll do more blowout. They'll take more material with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was I was going to say there before? I preferred the it's got a lot to do with the drift too. Like, you know, I prefer using round over square. So you can direct the drift in there, right? So you don't ever want to move your drift to try and correct the hole. You just got to twist your round underneath your drift, you know. So if you've got square, you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I like making them out of the inch round. And
so you got your inch round, and is that the first thing you do is poke a hole in it?
So I come out, I just round off the end, you know, so I'm not going to get any fish lips. And then I think it's about 2 inches is what I think I use to make a fuller, you know. So then I'll round off the end, hot cut 2 inches, just mark it with my hot cut at about 2 inches, and then mark where I'm going to drift my hole, and that's heat number 1. You know,
is that hole pretty much in the center of that 2 inches?
It's pretty much in the center. If not, it doesn't favor the bottom just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, maybe just a little bit below center. Because there's so much forging that goes on below the eye, you know. Like, I like to use that little peen and pinch off a bit of material, and then I forge the blade, and there's a lot of forging that goes on. So I feel like it grows a lot below the eye, more so than above, you know, the striking. And all you're really doing above the eye on the striking end is just tapering it up just a little bit. So, you know, I mark my eye just a little bit below center, and then the second heat, I come out and it's just a heat to get the eye drifted out, So get that done on the second heat, and then it's, two more heats to forge the blade in. I like doing that by myself. You can kind of use a tool and use a striker, but I feel like shit gets out of whack, man, if you use the striker too much when you're making fullers. For me, anyway.
Yeah, big things happen.
Yeah, big things happen fast, So I like to do a lot of that by myself. I like using a bit of a heavier hammer, though. I actually got it off Paul Keller. It's like an old 4-pound Jim Keith hammer that I like using.
Oh yeah.
So it gets stuff done pretty good. But
so you'll build them by yourself, like if you don't got somebody there
no,
with you
I've
all
never.
the time, like to strike.
No, I have never taken one on by myself. I've just be honest.
Okay.
I've never drifted an eye by myself. Honestly, like I've always had someone there with a sledge to kind of knock the eye in.
So who are you gonna enlist to come help you prep for convention?
So
Get them
I've been going out to Adam Farr's. And that's what we made all the straight blades on the press. Adam still knocked the iron for me with a sledgehammer, but we just set up a little series of dies in the press to where made it super quick. Especially a straight blade, you can come out and just forge the blade down and then straighten it out. And then there was a little taper die to kind of forge up the head. And you could do all that in one heat. And then the second heat, you just drift your eye and then cut it off. It was super fast, So
yeah,
that was real good. But there's quite a few guys around here. Mark Thompson, buddy of mine, he's still around, man. And, he's built a bunch with me before too. So he knows he's a good old mule on the sledgehammer. And then old Charles Bogard too. He's around here now. Moved out here from California,
that's
and
right.
he likes coming around, hanging out, belting some tools out every now and then too. So, and then Sawyer Spradling, he's got accounts out here. So anytime Sawyer comes out to work, he always ends up coming by the shop, and
Nice.
get him on the tool making kick. Yeah.
Oh, so you always got options, if you want
Plenty
somebody
of
to come
options,
run
man.
the sledge for you.
Plenty of free labor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing about Weatherford, Texas, I guess.
Yeah, there's plenty around. It's a good area, Good area, but
Yep.
It's funny though how you just kind of gravitated towards the fullers.
just the fullers, man. It's like so many people. I say so many people, but I felt like there was so many hammer makers out there. I was like, how am I going to compete with them guys, man? I'm like, everyone's.
And then you got to get all the big tools
Yeah,
for
man,
it too, right?
and it looked like hard work, dude. I was like, that's a lot of work,
Like
man.
Riley's been able to up his game with that big ass
old
hammer,
man. He's got that thing figured out, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it did. It looked like a lot of work, and I looked at the fullers like, you look at guys using them and stuff like that, and it's a tool that you can sell lots of them if you want to. Like, people burn through those things, you know what I mean? So
Oh yeah.
I felt like it was just a good one to stay after, especially once people started telling me like they were starting to look good and, they ran really good, and kind of got that figured out pretty good when we're on the team too. I got a lot of the guys used them and stuff, and, I made a draft fuller one year. We're on the team, and it made all our draft shoes, It was like the team fuller for a year, and just started really getting them dialed in. So, I thought it was just good to just stick with it, man. And I still enjoy it. I still enjoy making the tools, Kind of get a little
and I
bit
bet
of...
the market's still there for them. I bet there's probably if you make any fullers, they're gonna sell. People are gonna want them.
Have you seen what Mustad's new fuller's selling for now? You seen the price tag on that thing?
No.
What is it?
So Grant Moon's got the new Mustad line of tools out, the elite line. Well,
yeah.
I think that fuller's man, it's about $275, $280, dude.
Whoo.
Oh, damn.
For a machined out fuller, man,
Or a
right
machined
there.
out fuller. You know,
Got a signature on it.
got his signature.
got a
Maybe I
signature
need to
on
start
it.
signing my shit. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's there's one thing for sure is the market's there in horseshoeing. You know what I mean?
It
I
is.
think horseshoers understand hourly rates and how much a day is worth.
Yeah.
And if you split your folders up for how many you made in that day, and well, I could have made this much shoeing horses, so if I made 4 folders in this day, I want to split that day up like that.
Yeah.
Farriers are willing to pay you for that. You know, it's like I've made a living off horseshoers a little bit,
Yeah.
paying my rates for it. And so like, man, if they're getting $275 for a fuller like that, you should be able to get a pretty good chunk for a fuller like yours, because what they cannot afford to do is take all the fine time to do the fine details and break in the folder, have the folder feel broken in.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can afford to take.
Exactly.
Yeah, like test it.
Yeah. And
mean,
I've still
'cause-
got I love Roy Bloom's fullers, man. Austin's too, but Roy Bloom's.
I've still got one.
Roy Bloom's.
Yeah.
I really like those things, man. I've still got 2 or 3 of them, man. Like I still use them, and I've got a.
It's what I use for the draft shoes for like the convention go. We'll just run that same fuller through all 4 shoes.
That's
and
it.
Gets ran through hot.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do. I really like it. My heat treat deal's pretty simple. Seems to be working. They seem to hold up and stuff. And knock on wood, I haven't had too many blow up, man. So I'm just gonna, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? So just keep doing the same old thing. But
Yes, sir.
I think there's just, you think about that. I think it's just the heat treat that is what's key. I think it's just those 2 golden rules, man, of don't get it too hot and don't hit it too cold. You know what I mean? I think if you stick to those 2 golden rules, man, you're going to have a pretty serviceable tool on your hands. You know what I mean? But
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So when you're grinding one up, what are you looking for in your blade shape? You said already that you don't really want them any wider than 3/4 of an inch.
right.
But like, what about the radiuses on the blade?
So that all has to match, I feel like. So when I first go to grind the actual blade on it, I'll stick the blade onto the grinder and just put a nice arc in the fuller bottom, so it doesn't stick in the metal, right? Like there has to be a radius on the bottom of it so the fuller doesn't stick into the shoe. So
On the front side.
on the bottom of the blade, it's got to have, the bottom of the blade can't be straight. It's got to have
The cutting edge.
the cutting edge has to have a radius in it, right?
So do you think that's when they get sticky? Is when they have too much of a corner? They're too flat there?
They're too flat. If the fuller's sticking, it's too flat, So
Yeah, that makes sense.
But could you have too much radius where it's hard to get a stop?
that depends. So I've got a fuller with a massive amount of radius, and I used it in. It's actually Money made the fuller. Actually, I can't say I made it. Money gave me the fuller. It was for a sport horse bar shoe that I had to build to go to England one year, and I had to fuller right around the bar into the frog plate and join it in the frog plate. So it was a super tight bend around the back of the sport horse bar shoe. So that's where that massive radius, you can cut around really tight corners with a really big radius.
The heel down there.
Because you can get it up on that fine. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't have very much surface contact.
No, exactly. So that's key to getting around them super tight bends. And then obviously you get into, bigger draft shoes and stuff, and they don't need to have as much, but there still needs to be some in there in any fuller. It's just the more you add, the tighter the turn it can do, but then the harder it is to get a stop too, though, when you add too much radius. But I think they have to match. So you've got the the little radius on the cutting end, and then if you flip the fuller up and you look down through the blade, I think the radius has to match that way. You know, so the radius on the bottom needs to match the radius across the top, and then in the back of the fuller too, you flip it over, and then it has to have a little bit of a radius that way too. And that's when, if you can get all them to line up, that's when they walk themselves around the shoe, and you don't even have to try. You know, they just run really good. You know.
So do you worry about getting the point, like a lot of guys do, in the middle of the eye?
That doesn't matter. Like, yes, I try to shoot for having my eye right under the cutting blade, but that doesn't matter. Is because all the fullers I run are the rejects. Like, they're the ones I have. You know, and that's what's wrong with them. You know what I mean? The eye's a little bit off and it doesn't look right. But those are the ones I run. I keep them. And that's what I run.
It's not off like it's an eighth of an inch off.
It's an eighth of an inch off here or there, and that shit don't matter. They still run just as good, you know. Yeah. It does. I think if the striking end and the cutting end are underneath one another, it doesn't matter what's in the where everything is in the middle. It doesn't matter, you know. But you gotta please everyone though, you know.
There's like these baselines that you just have to hit, you know, for people to accept them. But I'm with you.
Yeah, you see them pick them up and they're looking at them and stuff like that, and you know they can't run them worth of shit, but they're gonna talk shit on it.
Man, it's the first, like, if you go and look through most guys' rigs, like, that's one of my favorite things to do at a shoeing clinic is just, like, go tote around and look at everybody's tools in their rig and, like, what type of condition they're in.
Oh, dude.
And it's, like, it's pretty weird grinds going on.
It can be a slippery slope, though.
Oh, yeah.
It can be a slippery slope, because then they'll be like, oh, can you just tune this up for me?
It's like shit, son. Like, it's,
You could be there all day.
Yeah.
You can be there all day.
Yeah.
Oh, that is for sure.
Yeah.
That is for damn sure.
But no,
Well, if
go ahead.
If someone wants to, like, buy one from you, how do they go about getting one? Other than, like, when they're going to be at when you're going to be at convention.
So this year, I've made some pretty big changes in my shoeing business. Like, I've got rid of a lot of horses. So, you know, I wanted to do that because I've always wanted to pursue more time in the shop, but I've never been able to do it, you know. When I did have the time, I was wore out from shoeing horses and I wasn't going to be productive in the shop. So, because there's a difference, man, between going to the shop after you get done shoeing horses or going to the shop first thing in the morning. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And I've just never had the time to do that. Well, you know, I've made time, and, you know, it's taken a little bit to get the shop, you know, up and running and everything in there that we need to, you know, do what we want to do in the shop. But that's what I've done this year is I've stepped away from a lot of horses and freed up a lot of time to get in the shop. And that's the plan, you know, is just want to get in there and try and keep fullers out there, you know what I mean? Like, I've always made batches here and there with a big gap in between, man. Like, so I just like to be able to spend the time to kind of keep them out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to get into taking orders. I feel like a fella can get into trouble doing that.
Yeah.
So
Riley could tell you about that.
Yeah, well, you know,
that's for the birds.
That's for the birds.
Orders are for the birds, man.
Yeah.
Horseshoers again are the worst. Like, I love them, but we are horrible people sometimes.
Yeah.
And you could take somebody's order and tell them, hey, man, I'm 6 months out before I'm going to get to you. You know, you're on the schedule. Well, in a month, they're going to be sending you a message asking if you're done.
Yeah.
You know, and if they see that you post pictures that you're out mowing the yard or fucking off with your family, they're going to
Why ain't you making my shit?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's just like, man, it's the same reason you don't shoot horses in your own damn town.
Yeah.
Like you don't want people to see what you're actually doing.
Yeah, no,
and so
exactly.
it's like, man, they don't, and you, in a way, you owe them. And so, like, I don't do well with like owing people money and shit. And so I don't like it either. So, man, and I'm not trying to like pat myself on the back, but now with social media, and I feel like I have helped create a little bit of a platform that is out there that, as a farrier, you can post your tools to your own page and sell them. Like people, it's not weird at all. It's a normalized thing.
You have, man, and I feel like just like that, man. You know, if you've got them, you can sell them. But I don't. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think taking orders that's not something I really want to get into. But it just takes the pressure off you too. I think if you've got a big list of orders there, that puts pressure on you, and then when there's pressure applied to you like that, it's not fun, you know. And that's the whole. That's why I like going to the shop, is because going to the shop's fun, and I want to keep it that way, you know. I want to enjoy my time in the shop and not have any kind of pressure on me to, you know, fill orders and stuff like that, you know. So I think people are going to be able to buy them. Like I said, like I'm kind of going to follow suit you, Riley, you know. It's like I'll put them out there on Facebook when I've got them, and when I don't, I'll be in the shop making them, you know. So
what did you have to do within your shoeing business to get there? You know what I mean? Like, you can't just drop all those like, did you have to raise your prices or something? Or
like I had
just make changes in life, like just go without some other shit?
Yeah, like I really don't need, like, as far as my hobbies go right now, man, like I've got my mountain bike. I like riding my mountain bike and stuff like that. And I like playing golf. Got a good set of golf clubs, you know. Apart from forging, that's about all you're going to find me doing, man. Fishing, going a little fishing. JD Roberts, he's here in town, and he's got his outfitter's license now and knows the river like the back of his hand and the lake and stuff. So he's a good guy to get hooked up with to go fishing. And then forging, man. That's all. I don't need, you know, I don't have big old flash wakeboarding boats and all that crap, four-wheelers, and I'm not into that right now. So, you know, pretty cheap, man. Pretty cheap entertainment on my end, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to say it wasn't a scary move getting rid of all them horses. Like I have one client now. That's all I have.
Really?
I have one
client.
Yep.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Yeah, like
how many horses is that?
You know, I'm out there anywhere, you know, 2, maybe 3 days a week sometimes, but a lot of times just 2 days a week. It's just a barrel racing account. Jeff and Andrea Busby, really nice people. Got a lot of horses though. You know, got a big ranch out there in Brock.
Oh yeah.
And, like I said, there's guys. If I still want to do a bit of day work, you know, there's plenty of guys that'll have me in their truck, go give them a hand and knock some stuff down. But I've never had this much time up my sleeve to spend in the shop, so I'm pretty excited about it. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's pretty perfect, and I feel like you're setting yourself up good to be able to be creative in the shop.
Exactly.
And, you know, like do what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, the possibilities are endless in the shop. So, not just saying that.
Do you think with the extra time, like you might like start practicing and like shooting going back to the WCBs or?
Yeah, I want to. Like I said,
the team stuff.
Yeah. So yesterday we talked about the team stuff, and I think next year we've got 4 guys that want to go next year. You know, it's myself, Adam Farr, Travis Smith, and Lamar Weaver want to go and try and give the team deal a run next year. So super excited to get on a team with those guys and get to practicing. And they're actually, Adam and Travis are judging this next one, so they get to do a little R&D for us and see where the level's at, and give us a bit of an idea of what we need to be shooting for come next year, you know. And
So
then
you guys, you're gonna do the WCB team then?
the team,
events.
yeah, just the team events, yeah. And I'll always do Fort Worth, man, because I get to sleep in my own bed at Fort Worth anyway. So it's
Yeah, it's close.
15 minutes down the road. So I'll always
That's awesome.
show up there at Fort Worth and see if I still got it. You know.
Hopefully there's no ice storm again this year.
I know
then,
it, man. Yeah, we'll knock on wood again for that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually missed that.
I wasn't there that year.
Yeah, I
but-
missed that one. That was the year I moved to Colorado, and I missed that ice storm. Yeah. Yeah, they said it.
Well, how long was you up in Colorado for then?
2 years. Nearly 2 years, you know.
2 years?
2013 and 14, I was up there and had the chance to go up there and take over a shoeing business, so I thought, you know, I'd give it a shot, you know. But my wife at the time, it didn't end up working out for her up there, you know, and we actually ended up having some health issues with my boy and stuff like that, so we ended up back down here in Texas. But beautiful place, though. Kind of wish I was still up there, honestly, but yeah. It's always good to just travel around, try things out, you know.
Not now. All those Colorado people are moving to Texas.
Yeah,
man.
I know.
Getting out of there.
Yeah.
You were ahead of the curve.
Beat them to it, man.
Yeah. You saw it coming.
Yeah, they're swarming Texas right now. They are. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't do it. There's no way. Like if it hits 100 here, dude, I'm pretty much done.
It got hot this year, man. Like I feel like it had been pretty.
Yeah, you guys were in a heat wave there for a while, right?
Yeah, man, and it's been pretty mild down here. I feel like the last couple of summers really haven't been that bad, but it kind of cranked it up this year and gave us a good old Texas summer again. You know, it was hot. It was hot, man. You know.
They didn't want you to forget.
No, I remember when Tom had come down here from Montana, and he'd just be miserable, man. You know, getting down here in the heat. That big old beard would get to overheating, you know.
Yukon couldn't handle
it. It was the same for me. It was the same for me going north, though. Like, we had a practice up there in July, and I didn't take a hoodie with me, and that was a bad move.
Oh, yeah. It got cold.
It could snow in
July, man. I was freezing my ass off at night. You know, I was like,
freaking nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how you guys do it up north, honestly, but I'm tropical.
It's great.
Yeah, tropical blooded, for sure.
It's part of the reason why I came back up here is for the weather, really.
Heat, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of it.
It's pretty easy to sit in between the forge and the power hammer when it's only 50 degrees outside.
Yeah.
That day I was down there a couple of weeks ago and it was 110 degrees out and then fucking 125 degrees like in the shop there. That was miserable.
Yeah, not
rough.
Fun. Not fun.
Yeah.
That big old
man,
forge,
it would be
that big old forge.
Yeah, it'd be great to get you up there and have it.
Yeah.
Oh, so what do you got going right now in that forge?
So that big old thing we built, man, is, I don't know, I thought it was super cool, man. Like, it was a massive big old propane tank, you know, so we just had a vision. Like everything, you stare at something and you just start visualizing and then you attack, man, you know. So we had this massive big old propane tank, and I thought that would just be perfect. You know, we wanted to try the side blast, and we wanted to build like a big one of them. And, you know, Mark, my buddy, said, hey, I got a massive big old propane tank out at my dad's. And I was like, how big's that thing? And he was like, it's big, man. You know, I was like, can we get it over here? And he was like, yeah. So got my buddy to haul it over the shop, Big Cat. He hauled it over, had the big tractor and stuff, and we got it in the shop. And this thing's like 14 feet long, you know.
Oh, man.
It was like massive. It was like a big old submarine, man. Yeah. So we just started cutting and welding and you know, before you know it, man, we had this we split this thing in half, and the top half was the hood, and put a big base in it, and dropped some fire pots, and before you know it, man, we had like a big old 3-fire forge. You know what I mean? And it works great, dude. Like
Is it still 14 feet long?
It's still 14 feet long. We've got
man.
a fire pot on each end and one in the middle, and it's got two blowers. So there's a blower on each end of it. So if you're just using one fire, you can just kick on one blower and it'll run that fire just fine. You know, even 2 fires can run off one blower, and then if you've got all 3 going, you'll need 2 blowers for it. You know, but yeah, it's the centerpiece of the shop, man. Whenever someone comes to the shop, they haven't been there. It's like, it's just that big, dude, that you got to stand there and
well, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's huge.
This is the first I'm hearing
I'll
about
have to
it.
send you
Well, I saw pictures of it, and it is a monster.
It's a big one.
Yeah, I want to see this sucker.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, but we've got the shop set up pretty good. Like, we've got the big forge in there. There's 3 stations around the forge, and we've got the double bay cross ties, shoeing bays across from the forge and stuff, and then, you know, the fabrication area.
It's pretty
and
sweet.
Yeah, it works. It works good, man. You know, works really good. It's always a work in progress, though. You know.
Oh yeah, there's something else
like
I saw on your Facebook. I was kind of just like scrolling through before we did this with you yesterday, and there was pictures of when you were in Australia. I'm guessing that's where you were, and there was these like black crawdads.
Oh, they're called
Yeah,
Marin. 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 You can only catch them. You're only allowed to catch them a certain time of the year. Like, they're pretty much endangered kind of thing, but they will let you catch them. I think it's one day out of every year, and they're native to Western Australia over there where my sister lives. So that's where we're at. We're over visiting my sister, and you can only catch them with a noose. So you've got to tie a noose. Yeah, like a little.
That's what it looks like.
Yes.
You guys had them like bait, like strung up.
That's how you can catch them.
Wow.
So you throw the little bait stuff out to attract them, right, and then you've got to sneak up on them, and you've got to catch them with a little noose. That's the only.
Well, how big? I haven't seen a picture of them. How big
They're
are
big,
they?
Gav. They're like little lobsters. Dude.
Bigger than a rabbit?
No, not that big. They're like a small lobster, but they can get. I say like a decent one would be about 12 inches long. You know?
Damn.
Yeah. Little freshwater.
How hard is it? Like,
it's hard.
It's pretty hard.
It's hard, and they're you got to sneak up on them, like so. And like I said, you got to try and slip this noose over them and stuff, and it's super hard, man. Like
Crocodile Dundee out here.
Yeah, like I'd actually never done it before, you know, like but because they're native to Western Australia, and I'm from the East Coast, so when my sister moved over there. And we all went over there and hung out. She was telling us about it. I'm like, well, yeah, like let's go try this, you know. But they taste awesome too. You know, we caught a bunch.
I was gonna say, I hope they are delicious for how rough it sounds getting them.
Yeah. No, they're real good.
Are they sold in like restaurants? You know, like how lobster are sold here then?
No,
because
like you can only catch them I think it's that 1 or 2. There was like 3 days, I'm guessing those, but it's not many. It's like 1, 2, or 3 days that you can catch them, and then that's it. Done for the season.
Oh, wow.
You know? Yeah.
Is there, so like those you probably didn't grow up eating too much, but is there anything that you like crave from home?
Meat
sometimes?
Meat pies, man.
Meat pies.
Oh, man. There's other podcasts I listen to when they interview Australians, and like that's what they say is, I wish I had a meat pie.
What's
right
up with
now.
the meat pies? Why are they so good? Like,
dude, you got
what's in them?
I don't think anyone knows what's in them, right?
Oh, really? it's a national secret.
Yeah, dude. Like, you don't want to really go looking inside them when you're eating them either.
Oh God!
It's kind of like that, you know. They got a little offal and stuff in them, you know. But they're good.
A national
dude.
secret.
Yeah, they're good. Like, but yeah, they, you know, it's nothing like that trip I went home.
Were the meat pies in England as
Oh,
good,
yeah.
or
Yeah,
like
no,
not even close?
Yeah, no, the Pommies have got some pretty good meat pies, you know.
Yeah.
Like they do
They
alright.
did.
Yeah.
What did they call those fuckers? Pasties or something like that.
Oh,
I think that's what they were.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little different over there, but the meat pies, man, you can't go wrong. Like, that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know. I do. I remember when I was over there in my apprenticeship, you go past, I still remember them, Croft Pies in Aberdeen. And they were famous for their meat pies, you know. I'd go past that thing every morning and I'd stop and get 2 meat pies, man. And even my last trip back home when we went over my sister's place, I hadn't been home in a long time. And I was all jet lagged, and I went over there for 3 weeks, and I never got over the jet lag. So I was waking up at, 2:30 in the morning and stuff, and couldn't go back to sleep. But I would just stay up, and as soon as the bakeries were open, I'd get on the pedal bike, and I'd ride down the street and go eat 2 meat pies, and then come back up and eat mum's breakfast too. You know. Good shit. Yeah.
Just putting it down, man.
Yeah, putting them down. I had to get my fill, man. I knew, and I just I found some meat pies over here actually in HEB, like the Whole Food grocery store down the road here, and
How were they?
They were like a shitty gas station meat pie, like a shitty turbo pie, you know. But they were pretty good.
Compare.
Like in a pinch, they were pretty good, you know.
They were close enough. They're
close
It's like hitting McDonald's.
But I did just notice. I went back down there
McDonald's.
yesterday, and the buggers.
The Golden Arches.
Yeah, the Golden Arches. That's the same shit.
I ain't scared.
Oh, all of us one night after Don King days. It was like we were all trying to go back to the hotel room, and all of us wanted like a steak or something. We all ended up going to the damn Golden Arches for Jukes.
The old double quarter pounder with cheese. It's hard to pass up sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a 2 cheeseburgers kind of guy.
Jeez. Well, man, Robert.
Yeah, I remember the steaks there in Sheridan actually were really fucking
The Chop
good.
House. That's pretty sad that contest ain't around anymore. That was a super cool one to go to, man. You know.
Yeah, that's kind of one thing I remember about that place was a steak there.
It was my favorite contest out of all of them.
Yeah.
You just had the whole entire scenery. You had Don King days going on. They're bucking horses in the middle of that polo fields.
Yeah.
It was, It was cool.
That was super cool. I don't even remember standing under the tent there, under the trailer, and you could feel the steers hitting the ground out there. Like when they're doing the steer tripping and shit, you could actually feel the
that's what I was
steers
just about to
hitting the
say.
ground
They're
and
tripping
shit.
steers.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the clubhouse afterwards at the banquet.
Yeah. Yeah,
Perfect.
it's a good time. Good time.
It's perfect.
Yeah, all those that, you know, if anyone hadn't done it, man, they need to go to a few of them WCBs. They're a lot of fun, man. You know.
Well, the bowling alley in Madison's still fun too. You know.
It is.
Do some bowling.
It is. They'll even let you take a little to-go cup outside too. You know, so.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
No, that's like, man, like us three right here owe the WCB of just knowing each other.
Yeah.
That is,
exactly.
Like that is the hub of it all, pretty much. It is not to be underestimated how cool just the networking is there. That you feel like you feel a part of something as soon as you get under the tent.
Oh, you do. I've met lifelong friends, man, through the WCB, you know, and yeah, no regrets at all. Like, so glad I went to that first one, you know, and I was scared shitless to go to the first one, and you know, but it was. I'm glad I did, you know, so glad I went to that thing because, like I said, I've made a lot of friends through doing so, you know. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's been great.
Same goes.
Yeah, plenty of time for more too, man. You know,
Oh, that's for sure.
plenty of time for more.
It is one thing we got is time.
That's right.
We got
That's
time.
right, Coop.
Still
Man.
young chickens.
Yeah.
We've had you on here again for almost an hour again for this little part 2.
I know it, man.
It's
I
pretty-
feel
pretty good.
No, it's just you know, it's pretty easy to sit down and talk with friends. You know what I mean? And I feel
Yep.
like that's how it's going to go for you guys. I feel like you guys are easy to talk to, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good deal for everyone. Just get people down
Well,
and
yeah, it'll be
listen to
fun.
their story. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Try to break into a little bit, get people to appreciate all the hard work some of these people have put in like you.
Yeah.
We appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and away from your life and sitting down with us, man, kind of spreading some knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate the offer. You know, it's been a lot of fun. That's for sure. I'd love to do it again too. You know. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll get you up here and build some hammers at Riley's.
I'm down.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Pencil. We need to pencil that in at some point, man. And I'd love to get up there for sure. That'd be a lot of fun.
Man,
Oh, yeah.
We'll definitely get that on the schedule. I'd love to have you out, and we'll do this in person.
Gotta
And
pop
ladies
that,
and gentlemen.
gotta pop that cherry on the hammer I'm making, man. I need to make a hammer, man. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can ask Gavin. That hammer can be a little intimidating at first. The
Yeah.
power hammer.
Yeah.
You get used to it, but at first it's
Yeah.
a little bit much.
Kind of a little scary, yeah. Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
It's a big son of a
Yeah.
bitch. It's got a lot of power. I about broke my fucking hand.
Oh, I bet.
Freaking time.
I bet.
She
Golly.
don't care about your feelings at
No.
all.
It didn't help. Riley was like, "Whoa, whoa," and it was already like coming
coming.
down. It was
Yeah.
like too late at that
Yeah.
point.
Oh.
Yeah, come the boom.
Very good, guys. Well, I've enjoyed it. Yeah.
Man, we've enjoyed you, and
Same.
thank you everybody for listening. Robert Jukes, everybody. The man, the myth, the folder making legend.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks,
You
Robert.
bet you guys.
We'll talk to you soon,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Likewise. You guys have a good evening.
You too, man.
You too.
All right. Bye bye.